Hi there, thank you very much for joining us. My name is Veronique Berman and I'm Chana's scientific advisor. And I have the very great pleasure this afternoon of chatting with Dina Steinberg, who's very generously agreed to talk to us about exercise and her career as a personal trainer. Dina, thank you very much for joining us. Maybe you'd like to introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about the work that you're doing.
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Dina. I am a personal trainer. I've been a personal trainer for the last 7.5 years. Before I became a trainer, I was actually working in an accountancy office whilst I was completing a degree in maths and economics. At the time, I knew that this wasn't something that I wanted to do forever. So I decided to pursue a career in something that I felt passionate about. I took a big risk. I left my job and I became a personal trainer. And I actually love what I do now, so no looking back.
Good, good. And with a scientific background, you probably have quite an understanding of the impact of exercise, not just as a pleasurable activity. Thinking about couples who are trying to conceive or thinking about conception, do you have any thoughts about the role of exercise in that situation?
Okay, so exercise is obviously very important on many different levels. Exercise is very important when someone becomes pregnant. Their body undergoes massive changes. There's much greater strain put on muscles and joints. Exercising before you fall pregnant will help strengthen your body so that when you actually do fall pregnant, you'll feel strong and healthy, and will also help to get your body back for after you give birth. Now, obviously, the process of becoming pregnant can be very, very stressful, and stress and anxiety can be proven to affect fertility. Now, when we exercise, our body releases chemicals called endorphins, and now these chemicals interact with our brain and trigger feelings of happiness and positivity. So, so this is obviously very important for trying to fall pregnant. You need to stay positive. For example, I have my clients, when they train, they will probably spend the entire hour complaining about exercising because it is not easy, but almost 100% of the time afterwards, I'll get a message saying, thanks so much, I really enjoyed it and I feel absolutely great now. One other reason is that when we exercise, the level of cortisol in our body, now cortisol is a stress hormone, the level of cortisol in our body is reduced. So this will also leave us feeling confident and give us a massive boost in energy and improve our mood as well.
So it's really a question of reducing the stress hormones and increasing the hormones that make you feel happier or just more positive about things, which is obviously going to be a good thing, especially when there's so much else going on in the background. Yeah. Now, you mentioned that the people complain while they're exercising how difficult they find it, but there are some people who find even the thought of exercise quite daunting. So they want to get started, or they know that the benefits are definitely going to be there for them, but they're daunted at the prospect. Yeah. Do you have any suggestions for those individuals?
Right, okay, so I think the hardest part of actually exercising is taking that first step. Once you've taken that first step and exercise becomes part of your daily or weekly routine, it definitely becomes easier and it will become enjoyable. I think the most important thing is at the beginning to find an exercise that you actually enjoy doing and you'll look forward to doing. So perhaps this will be working out with a friend, or joining a group exercise class, so it becomes a social as well. I do have a lot of people in my class who admit that part of the reason they come regularly is because they end up seeing the same friends and they have a fear of missing out what's going to happen in that class that week. Obviously, it's important to start slow and slowly, gradually build up, and it will become more enjoyable over time, definitely.
So we all are very much aware of the fact that we're living through unprecedented times where most of us locked away at home, not able to see friends, as you're suggesting, which obviously would be a very good way of getting started and feeling the comfort of being with familiar faces. Sure. So for those who can't get out and about and see people, but need to get started and doing some exercise, any thoughts for the homebound?
So I think the key thing with what's happening at the moment with the lockdown is just to keep things simple. Try and find an exercise that doesn't require any equipment, doesn't require a huge amount of space. I would try and say take a mix of maybe some cardio exercises, for example, some walking, maybe skipping. A lot of people will find a skipping rope in the house, and try and make some core strengthening exercises, maybe some simple crunches, some planks, and also add in some strength toning, muscle toning exercises. So basic lunges and squats. And try and challenge yourself. So for a beginner, they'll start very basic. Let's take a plank, for example. A beginner might start with a 10-second plank to strengthen their core muscles. Maybe each week add 10 seconds. And by the end of, let's say, a few weeks, try and take it up to 60 seconds. And you can do this with all different exercises. So set yourself a challenge. And I know at the moment, with a lockdown, there's so many resources online. For example, on YouTube, you can find so many different exercise videos, and so many personal trainers like myself are doing online Zoom classes, which are really fun, and you can try and join these to try and keep up with the exercise.
And are you doing that on a one-on-one, or is that a group activity?
So the Zoom classes are group activities. So I have a meeting ID, and whoever wants to join will just put that meeting ID, and they can join when it's convenient for them.
Fantastic. So you mentioned walking as one of the exercises. It would appear that particularly during this COVID-19 lockdown time, the government has recognised that exercise is important, that, you know, we're allowed to leave our homes not just for essential shopping or medical appointments, but that walking is a good idea. What would you say about the benefits of walking? Because often people don't really think about that as being exercise.
Yeah. So walking is actually one of the best ways to improve or just to maintain overall fitness. Walking's great because it's a low impact exercise. So that means that there's very, very low risk of energy. So young people, old people, everyone can do this. Obviously it's free and it doesn't require any equipment, which is great. You can do this at your own pace. So you can start slowly and you can gradually increase your speed, increase your distance. And this will overall, over time, will start to slowly increase your fitness levels. It has so many other benefits. For example, it will strengthen your muscles or strengthen your bones, which in later life will help reduce the risks of arthritis, osteoporosis, things like that. It will reduce your risks of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. And overall, walking will just burn calories. Obviously, the faster you're walking, the longer distance, you're going to burn more calories. And obviously, calories is related to weight loss. So when you're burning calories, it will also help to improve your body image and make you feel better about yourself.
So can I just pick you up on one of the points that you mentioned, because you say that it's low impact, low energy. Does that mean low impact, not necessarily as beneficial as some of the other exercises?
The low impact means that it doesn't put too much stress on your muscles and joints. So something, let's say, running or jumping, the impact on your joints is much harder. So not everyone will be able to do that. For example, an older person might find that too difficult. Walking there's no hard impact. You can do this at a slow pace, you can do this at a fast pace, but it's not going to be, there's no risks there's no risks at all involved in this.
So also something that could be very beneficial for somebody starting out on an exercise program, a good way to ease into it.
Yeah, definitely. And also walking is so enjoyable when the sun's shining and you put music on. There's nothing like going for a walk in the sunshine, and it really can be so enjoyable.
You can actually forget what's going on in the world outside.
Yeah, completely distracts you from what's going on. Yeah. And you don't even think,
not a bad thing.
Think that you're exercising, you're just listening to music and walking.
Yeah. How many times a week should somebody be considering taking on board exercise to really have the benefits of it?
So I would try and aim to exercise every day if possible. Try and stay active every day. You should try and do about 150 minutes of exercise a week, of moderate exercise a week. So moderate exercises are exercises that are going to increase your heart rate, make you breathe faster and make your body feel warm. So walking is a good example, cycling can be another example, swimming can be another example. So alongside these exercises, I would try and say incorporate at least twice a week a strength training exercises. So these could be whether you use weights or a resistance band, a bit of Pilates or yoga. Twice a week, that would be great. And I'd also say try and make small changes in your life. For example, instead of taking the lift or an escalator, try and walk up the stairs, walking to the shops instead of driving to the shops. If your kids' schools are local, try and walk. And all these small changes will help you on a day-to-day basis as well. If possible, set yourself some daily goals and targets. So either 5,000 steps a day, 10,000 steps a day, something like that. And again, that can be increased over time as well. And it's very easy to monitor your step count at the moment. You can download apps, or you can buy a fitness tracker, and it's quite fun to see how many steps a day you're doing. And I have a lot of clients who will message me at the end of the day, really excited that they've reached their 10,000 steps. So it's quite a good way to monitor it.
And are people often surprised by how many steps they're doing with simple extra activities, or
I think
not necessarily?
The opposite, actually, that they're surprised at how little they're actually doing when it comes to it, unless they are actively going for a walk. I think people find that on a day-to-day basis, just walking around the house is actually not as many as they think. So, but most people will try and incorporate a walk or a run, something at least 20 to 30 minutes a day, and that will really help to push up that.
Right, so you've answered my next question, because obviously I understand the amount of time that is recommended over the course of a week, but in any one bout of activity, is there a minimum amount of time that you would suggest is sensible?
I would say 20 to 30 minutes if possible, yes.
Right, so, obviously people are trying to fit this in amongst clinic visits and work and all the other things that they're trying to do. So
there's actually a type of training called HIIT training, which stands for high intensity interval training. So this is great for people who don't want to spend an hour a day exercising, or don't have the time, or don't have the patience or energy for it. So what it is, it's you basically have short, sharp bursts of an exercise, maybe 20 seconds, for example, of, you could say, running on the spot, and then you follow that by a rest period. So you could do a 15 to 20 second rest period. Once you finish that, you go back to another exercise. So you're doing short exercises followed by rest. And this is a great way of burning a lot of calories in a short amount of time. And this can also be adjusted. So as your fitness level improves, or you want to challenge yourself more, you could increase the time you spend on an exercise, or you could decrease the rest period. And that's a great way of increasing your fitness as well.
Great, thank you. One last question, if I may.
Sure.
You've talked about the mixture of different types of exercise. So, for example, strength exercises, cardiovascular exercise. Is it more beneficial to do all of those in one session? So strength, stretching, cardio, or is it more beneficial to do different types of exercise on a given day?
I would suggest trying to combine the two. So for example, I would try and suggest warming up with a cardio exercise, so walking, running, cycling, because those are really good for your cardiovascular health. They will improve improve your heart, your lungs, and then follow that with your strength training. So that will build your strengthen your bones and muscles. And when you have strong muscles, it will increase your metabolic rate. So that will help you to burn more calories as well. So I'd say definitely try and combine the two if possible in every training session. And obviously it's very, very important before and after exercising to stretch properly. This will prevent injury and try and reduce muscle soreness. Stretching also will help your posture and flexibility of muscles, and that's very important for overall over time that you maintain your range of motion around your joints. So that's very important for stretching as well.
You make sure that you don't overdo it and actually get all of the benefits, all of the gain without too much pain.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Dina. Really encouraging, especially for those who maybe not used to exercising regularly or haven't got into a routine yet. Yeah. Some really encouraging suggestions. Thank you so very much.
My pleasure.
All the very best. Stay well.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.